My next guest, a three-time All-Pro, six-time Pro Bowler, Davante Adams. How are you?
I'm doing good. Long time no see. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. You're back with your wall of wide receivers. Can't wait to get into some of these storylines. Wild Card Weekend, super fun. But I looked at your Instagram story. You're back out on the golf course. You love to see it. You hit this to 3 feet. What do I need to know about this? Gorgeous. Oh my gosh.
This I can't do this in Jersey right now, so it's good to be back home. Some good weather. I wish I was still going. Unfortunately, I am at home now, but we still, it's a silver lining at the end of the day.
What's the is it hitting a hole in one? Have you ever done it?
I have not. I've gotten close. I've had a few that were like how this one was, and unfortunately, that ball just won't go in the hole. And it's such a small ball, and it's a small hole, and it's really far away. So it's the opposite happening is not great, but I think one day it'll happen.
But there's so much luck that has to do with it. Like, you could be 10 years old and hit a hole in one. So what's the hardest thing to do in sports? Like, Dion has said it's hitting a home run, I think, hitting a baseball.
Yeah, I think off the numbers, I think it probably is hitting a home run. But, I don't think you can fluke hit a home run. I think you have to really be able to do that. You got to have the strength, the speed, the eye for it and everything. Golf, you can get lucky. So that's the part that's not fair.
Yeah.
I know some as a hole in one that does this golf like 5 times. So it's not fair, but it is what it is. It's a crazy game.
Yeah, there's no luck involved in having 1,000-yard season. It is preparation, opportunity, work, and some, like, and this is like all the stuff that's gone on, you still managed to yank 1,000-yard season out of all of this, and you did it in 14 freaking games. How does that even happen? That's for a 5th straight year, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think when people try to determine whether or not I've had a good year, it's based off of the rest of my years. It's not based off of how everybody else plays or what is considered actually good. So I find peace in knowing that regardless of my circumstances, wherever I've been, I've found a way to get it in. And it's a lot of experience that I've had, obviously, knowing, unfortunately, I have a lot of experience with different quarterbacks at this point. So to be able to come back to one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, obviously that makes it a little bit easier on you. So like I said, people can talk about whether or not I made the right decision or not, but when you look at what I was up against and, what I came into, it made all the sense in the world to come and pursue this, and obviously was able to do something, not near what I feel like I can do still, but it's definitely still good to hit that 1,000-yard mark.
It's unbelievable that you were able to do that, given the way that things went, and I think the future has a lot to hold. I can't wait to see what it is. Touchdown catch number 500 was about to happen, and I'm like, he's going to Davante. He's like, this is going to be, and he doesn't. You were robbed. I hated that for you. You had to be upset about that. Come on.
Nah, I mean, I was obviously I'd love to be connected with him on that one as well. 200, 405, that would be pretty crazy, but if anybody's gonna get it, Tyler Conklin is more than deserving of it.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. He's what he's been through and what he's done this year. I mean, I'm happy for him either way.
You did get 502, and if you didn't, I'd be very upset. You get 502, you guys get the win too, but you get the ball back from the referee. Where's the ball?
Yeah. I have the ball. The ball's in my closet right now. I had to get that one. I asked him if he wanted it or if I did. He already got one earlier in the game, so I felt like he was being generous that one.
Well, the touchdown's number 83 between you and Aaron, 3rd all time. Pretty amazing between Peyton and Marvin and Steve Young and Jerry Rice. Not bad company. Yeah,
it's a pretty big deal to be able to pass Mark Clayton and Dan Marino. Anybody on that list really is unreal. So had we not ever broken up, we'd be a lot closer. I don't know, we might be creeping up on Peyton and Marv if that hadn't happened, but it did. So, we're gonna see what happens. But if that was the last one, at least we got to move into 3rd.
Was it the last one?
I don't know. Your guess is just as good as mine right now.
So we're not closing the door on it.
We're not closing the door. Definitely not closing the door. I can't close any doors. I gave the Raiders a shot for a really long time. So I think, coming here and being in this situation, I got to give it. And it makes sense, too. I mean, you look at the team that we had, we were not far away. Obviously, you're a horrible team when you just lose the games. It's not like we're getting blown out every week. We had chances. We just didn't finish. So there is some promise there, but there's a lot of stuff that needs to get figured out before I can tell you yes, for sure.
Yeah, you're under contract, and then, but of course, I was picking up. I was like pausing, rewinding, watching you two walk off the field together. I was looking forward to it in this moment, and I'm looking at it. What are you thinking here, in this moment?
I was a little bit jealous seeing him walk off with Randall out of Lambeau. I didn't walk out with him when we left Lambeau. I actually walked off the field by myself. So just in case it was, the last one that we'll have together, I definitely felt like it was right. After I finished my media, I waited on him to finish his on the field, and then we got to walk off one last time. So that's kind of what we were talking about right there. I said, yeah, I missed you on the one in Lambeau, so we had to do it right this time.
I mean, in Enigma, he says he went and found Randall. They wanted to find each other because they knew it was the last time, and it was. It wasn't the last time for you and two then. So you're saying that you walked up to Aaron and you sought him out?
Yeah, I just waited. We didn't talk about it at all, and obviously you don't know how the game is going to end. It's been a wild ride this year, so haven't really had a whole lot of opportunities to walk off the field, smiling together, and I think at least two of them we did that. So I know for sure Jacksonville we walked off together, and that was a fun one. So like I said, having the potential last one, I felt like it made sense for us to take that last walk together.
What didn't we see? So you walk into the locker room. What happens then? What didn't we see?
It was just an emotional locker room, not necessarily tears, but it was one of those locker rooms where you could tell it was the end, but it was kind of it's a unique year because so much stuff is guaranteed to change this year. We talked a lot about it being the last time that group will ever be together, and whether that's because Brick won't be here, or I won't be here, or Aaron won't be here, or whether it's just a couple special teams core guys that won't be here, still won't be the same team. So we just kind of wanted to connect in there and spend a little time together, laugh a little bit, and just enjoy each other's company before we split up for the off season.
I can't tell if I feel like it's a very cool thing that like Aaron could walk away and be done and feel so great about what he's done in his career, winning at the highest level and pulling in MVPs and being the headline always. Aaron Rodgers. I can't tell if I feel like he's done. What was your read, I guess, that day? Or I'm sure but what's your read on it?
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I don't know. What is your read? I want it. Like, does it feel done? Does he feel done? He could be. Like, does it feel done?
It feels like we're done for the year, at least. I don't know. I think he definitely needs to. Every year he said, like, I need to, figure out what's going on in my future and all this stuff. I think it's legit. I think he has a lot going on in his head, a lot of different potential options to weigh. And anytime you've played 20 years, like, you can easily hang it up, and I don't think anybody would say you're ridiculous for that. So it could happen, but you look at the way that he played once he was healthier at the end of the year. You could definitely make a case he has few more years in the tank for sure, and not just one. So that's my take on it, but we'll see where he's at after this year.
He can do what he wants, which I think is gets taken from some players. I'm sure you look at it similarly. Like, you want to have agency over what your future is, not let the game just be taken away from you. And I think both of you have put yourself in the driver's seat. And I think every player wants that. Every player wants agency of how their career plays out to the end. With the Jets, you're with them. You are a Jet. You are a Jet until you're not a Jet. They've been interviewing. They're requesting interviews for coaches, Davante. Have you been keeping an eye on that?
I have, but I haven't because I feel like there's a new coach every day that they've interviewed. So it's been, I think, the first like 2 or 3 I was paying attention to, and now just kind of waiting to see what the news is going to be. And then obviously I'm sure there'll be some sort of communication with me and the team, and then we'll be able to decide if it's the right fit, or the head coach may have nothing to do with it too. It may not be we got this head coach and I'm going to be there. I don't think it's that type of deal, but obviously it makes a difference. So we're going to see what happens. I think they're on probably head coach number 11 right now that they're looking at. So we'll see who they decide to go with.
So that's not a driving decision. It's part of it, right? So I am curious about that because you have this, like, you're one of the greatest players to do it. You've also been through it all, business side, in making these decisions, not all that you control. But what's, sort of what I feel from just talking to you is the quarterback's always mattered to you. Like, you want, that's almost number one. Is it still number one as you make decisions going forward? Is it market? Is it a winning team? Like, do you look at like a Hopkins and like his role there and say, like, oh, that's a winning team, that's interesting to me? Like, what is important? What's most important to you?
Obviously, what's most important is winning. And any team that I go to, I'm assuming if they want me there, that I would be taking on a similar role to what I've had in the past. There's a bunch of teams out there that are winning teams, but it has to be the right situation. Obviously, some teams that are winning because they have a great wide receiver core already. So they may not be in the market for one and looking for me, which is fine. So we're just going to keep looking at who's looking at, having me come in and contribute and try to help them win. And if that's a team that's had a lot of success already, then, amazing. If it's a team that is, just a receiver away, then we'll see how that fits as well. So, I'm just making sure that I'm ready to go, take my time on, what that looks like. And, we'll have a decision here probably within the next, I don't know. I don't know if I can put a timeline on it, but at some point in the off season, we'll know.
At some point, you'll be on the golf course trying to get that hole in one. You'll get a call, and I know you'll make the right decision. And by the way, like, I'm already hearing just teams are just like, what's the deal? I'd like him. What's going on? I mean, you could go and really tip the scale for somebody that is a winning team. That's what I'd love to see. I mean, and I know, is the list long of teams that you wouldn't play for? I know that, my hometown team, you were kind of joking, but you would never play for the Bears, let's say. How many teams are there like that?
That I wouldn't play for?
Yeah.
I don't know. And like I said, I know I got people were trying to kill me for getting on the Bears.
It was funny.
You won't go there. They got the same record as the Jets and the Raiders and all. And I'm like, just relax, everybody. I play for the Packers. It's not that serious. It's definitely not that serious.
Would you rule out a return to a team you've played for?
Yeah.
What do you mean? You would not rule out. Like, you take a phone call from, I don't know, a team that rhymes with Schmackers. You're not like, yeah. A team playing this weekend. We're not ruling it out.
You can't rule anything out. I got a lot of love for all the organizations I played for, so I wouldn't rule out anybody. I mean, obviously, I think that there's some saltiness from maybe some of the fan bases that I've been with because of not understanding, what I was going through and my, and the decision that I decided to make for my own personal career, which somehow hurt everybody. But I would say, yeah, I keeping my mind open to, wherever. Obviously, the Packers are a great team, and if they felt like that was a possibility for me, and like I said, I'm still with the Jets, so I can't be out here talking about going to other teams.
Of course.
Obviously, this is going to be an interesting offseason, one that's been different than any one that I've had in the past. So talking about potential landing spots is obviously a little bit different this time. So I don't know. We'll see, but definitely keeping an open mind.
There has to be a bit of understanding from those fan bases too. Like, Telesco, who you said on my show that he handled your situation well. You liked working with him. He gets let go. Antonio Pierce isn't there anymore. Maybe they bring in a quarterback. You're sitting in a house in Las Vegas. I'm just saying, let's not close doors, Davante. Let's not do that.
Yeah, I'm not closing anything, but yeah, I mean, you said it. It's been anybody that doesn't understand why I had to make the decision that I made. Either times they just are obviously just big time fans or big time with me, and which is fine. I mean, I'm not really worried about it either way, but it would just help you, as viewers or as fans to understand what's going on and be realistic about it. I mean, the team gets the head coach fired, the GM fired, had like 3 or 4 quarterbacks play this year. So me, as I'm Davante Adams trying to figure out what's next in my life. Obviously, you have to take all these things into consideration and then, weigh your options. And based off of what I was presented with at the time, and a lot of other contributing factors that honestly I won't get into publicly, it was the time for me to go from the Raiders. And did I go to the Jets and win every game? Absolutely not. Did I have an all-pro year? No, I did not. But, I changed teams and I got back with my guy and had a lot of fun and was able to get out there and get in the end zone and have a year that was similar to last year, which, I played 3 less games. So
crazy.
And
Crazy.
change teams. So at the end of the day, there's decisions that need to be made, and you got to make calculated decisions, and that's all I've been doing.
It's nice to have decisions to make. It's not for everybody. It's nice to be in the position to weigh your options, as I'll continue to say. Can we talk a little bit about Wild Card Weekend?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's take a look at it. So I was thinking about some of the receivers that are taking the field this weekend. You've been in this position before. You're going to get there again. Out of these receivers, these are just some of them. You can go off the board here. Which receiver do you think Wild Card Weekend, maybe we can pull up the schedule here, who has the biggest performance, the most impactful performance? Who's Davante Adams sort of wanting to see?
I would say you can never say Justin Jefferson isn't going to go crazy. Obviously, that's the easy one, though. And I would say based off what's going on with Mike Evans, who is one of my favorite players of all time and favorite people of all time, I'm rooting for him probably more than anybody on that list to just keep going crazy because his career is something that just needs to be studied. He could, in my opinion, he could retire like tomorrow and they got a spot waiting for him in 5 years. So I'm always rooting for him. Justin, I want to see him keep going. It's fun to watch as you see him. Oh, no, there he is.
Yeah.
I wish the guy next to him was still playing too, because he had a lot of fun out there this year, and I had fun watching him too. But I don't know. I'll say Justin will probably have the biggest game. Don't be surprised if McConkey comes in and does something crazy too. I'm a big fan of that kid.
Yeah, he's having a crazy rookie year. What does the message from Jefferson say? Is it shareable? What does it say up there?
Let's read it. Let me see.
Okay, let's do it.
To DA, great game today, bro. It's an honor to play on the same field with you. Much love. Jettis.
Love that. You're calling your shot.
Yeah.
He'll have a big game. Maybe they can go far with Sam Darnold. That'll be interesting. You mentioned Mike Evans. I mean, you're right. It should be studied. 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Unbelievable. He gets Lattimore on Sunday night. I'm obsessed with this because I just like the antics. I like the history of it. Do you have a Lattimore? Who was your Lattimore? Who was your this?
I never had anybody that I went at it with like
Not
how they
yet.
do. Nah, not, and I'm too old to be doing that now. I don't see that. I don't see that developing at this point in my career. That's something that usually starts early. I would say back then maybe it was kind of Sherman a little bit.
Yeah.
Pass back in the day, so it wasn't something that lasted as long as what theirs has. But I probably had to put Rich in there, who's also on that wall over there too.
We had Sherman on yesterday. Those battles between you guys were amazing. You had some against Ramsey, but you've taken on really incredible corners. Maybe you're just too good. It was never a contest, really.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes maybe I just haven't ran into a hothead enough guy to try me on that level. And I'm not saying that Mike is a dude that needs to be tried, because honestly, Lattimore got something going on. He kind of crazy up top to be messing with Mike anyway. Yeah. And on the flip side, because I know both of them boys are crazy. So I don't have anybody that's on that level, but
not yet.
If it ever went there, then I would gladly take it there. But I just haven't. Nobody want to try me like that.
Having faced these guys, Patrick Peterson, by the way, as well. You faced Darrelle Revis. I'm looking in your You went up against Surtain twice a year. Surtain's got, I don't even know who he covers going up against Buffalo. They don't have a true number one. I don't know how, you can give me your guess if you know it. How good is Surtain? How good is he?
He's a hell of a player. And I had got on to him a little bit ago because he had put me, for whatever reason, after the 22 season, he ranked his top 5 receivers and didn't have me in it when that, just based off the tape, that obviously should not have been the case. But if you talk about a player that is just line up and forget the next rep if it was bad, and if the last one was good, we're going to build on it. He's a hell of a player. He's got great technique. He's got the stuff that you can't teach. He can run. You see him on that one against the Raiders. I think he took that 100 yards the other way. He's got the length. He's got basically all the measurables of what it takes to be a good corner. And he just kind of lays low too, which is something you don't always see from corners, that are the best in the game. So he's got a unique style, but he's definitely one of the best corners in the game.
You had a 141-yard game against him.
I did, yeah.
We can talk about the tape. We can talk about whatever. That's a pretty good stat line. We're going to take a TV break. I want to keep you through the break to go over some of these other wild card questions I have. And I think I want to ask you about, do you want to talk about George Pickens?
Yeah, let's talk about George.
What do you make it? I don't know what to make it. They're in a rut for sure. And then it's like, I don't know if their chemistry isn't great, but this is a kid playing in his first playoff game. You had a great first playoff debut. Like, yours was off the hook. But what do you make of George Pickens? How should I feel about this somehow polarizing wide receiver?
First of all, George is a hell of a talent. He's a unique player. He's got a very unorthodox style, and I've told him I'm a fan of his game ever since college. He's a dog. I've always been a fan of him, his physicality coming off the ball, and he would just throwing the DB on the ground, come off like he's running like a release or doing a release, and then just shove him, throw him on the ground. That's always been fun to watch. And he's been a little bit of a wild card this year,
yeah.
That's sure. Or I guess in his career, but everybody's got a different personality, and he's got one of the best head coaches in the game over there to help deal with him, similar to how he dealt with AB. So obviously having him is going to help. I'm sure it would help for him to get a few of those things under control, but that's who he is, and he's a hell of a player, and he makes plays, when he gets out on the field. So, what are you going to do?
I don't know. I hope they can pull it together. I don't know. Momentum isn't in their favor. I'm curious to see how it'll go.
It's not, but I think that they've done enough to hopefully they have that as a part of their identity now. They went on a wild ride for a while. They were saying that they made the wrong decision by starting Russ, and then he comes in there and gets his feet wet at first against us, unfortunately, and then keeps carrying on that momentum and just kept winning games. So I think they got a chance because they got a really good team and they got a really good defense. So if all those fails, then defense wins championships. So we'll see what happens.
The Packers rhymes with Schmackers. They take on the 2-seed Eagles, Davante. It's in Philly. Nobody's expecting them to win. How can they do it?
They just got to get back to what they were doing earlier in the year. They've dealt with some injuries, and honestly, I think they just got to push the ball down the field a little bit more, like how they were doing before. Catching teams off guard, whether it was getting penalties. And I feel like that's something that we could have probably done a little bit more throughout the years, just challenging people down the field. The game gets hard when you're trying to dink and dunk and, have that kind of Tom Brady approach without having a Tom Brady quarterback that's okay with just, throwing 5-yard, 10-yard completions and just doing it right all the way up the field. If you have a young team like they have, it's not always easy to do that like that. So getting some more chunks, getting Josh back and getting him going is going to be a big thing. So I'm still rooting for him. I definitely am rooting for him in that game. That's for sure.
That's for sure. Okay, that was our little wild card roundup with I could just listen to you all day. I could go through every little thing. So appreciative of your time. Go work on that golf game. Make those decisions. Rest. Let it roll off of you. And just congratulations on what was truly an incredible season and maybe the most formative of your career.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we got to keep going. Take some time. We'll go hit some balls, and then you'll be the first to know.
Yeah, get back to work. You're the best. Love to the family. Enjoy it, and hopefully we talk to you soon.